Hello, hello, hello. If this is your first time here, my name is Ileane and I'm with ILEANESBUDDY.com. And I've been using a site called Anchor.fm to host my podcast. And I get a lot of questions about Anchor because, hello, how are you? It's Pat, Patricia Summers. Thank you so much for coming. And so, because of the overabundance of questions that have coming in about Anchor, I thought it would be good for me to do a bit of a Q&A. But hi, Tish. But I will also cover, hey, Bonnie, you got me live. Yes. I got to be honest with you guys. I was going to do a different type of live stream, but because of technical difficulties, I'm here on my phone. So you're just getting me today. So one of the things that happened with Anchor is that they moved from being a social audio platform. I'm going to keep my glasses on. That was silly for me to take them off. Thanks, Bonnie. They moved from being a social audio platform to being strictly a podcasting platform. Now, with that said, there are still some social audio components left, like the fact that we can message each other. We can call into each other's stations, leave messages, ask questions, give feedback, whatever. That's a unique feature. We also have a feature called We Record with Friends, where you can do interviews. Now, I find the audio quality to be, on those, it all depends upon everybody's internet connection and all of that, but it doesn't rival Skype, okay? So, but it is a simple and easy way to do it, and you don't have to worry about Skype and double enders and all that other stuff too. So there's that. But I started a site and a Twitter handle and another podcast, and it's called Free Podcast Host. And one of the things that I did was I listed out several free podcast hosts. Here's my list. Okay. And I compared features of different podcasting hosts. And because Anchor just made this 3.0 update, and they, with that update, they integrated desktop publishing for your podcast. You know, in my last video, I talked about this, and I sort of didn't have all the information because I'd never tried it before. But it turns out that you can completely start your podcast from desktop. If you're a person who doesn't like to use mobile, who's just not savvy on their mobile, or maybe you got poor connections, whatever, you can start your account and everything from mobile. And also, I am finding that managing the content is much easier on desktop. Well, I find that not just with Anchor, but with any podcasting. For me, managing content is so much easier on desktop than it is on mobile, just because the phone is small. That's all. And to me, it's just easier to make sure that you're tapping the right thing, you know, when you're using your mouse versus your finger. And so one of the things you can do now is, let's say I start an intro for a podcast, right? I have a set intro and it says, hey, you're listening to The Anchor Show, because that's the name of the other show I have on Anchor. It's The Anchor Show. This is Miss Ileane, blah, blah, blah. Then I start talking about a topic, all right? Then all of a sudden, someone calls in and either asks a question or they leave me some feedback. I can then integrate that question Then I go answer the question. Someone else calls in, and they may not respond to what I said, but they may respond to what the other caller said. So now it makes sense for me to move that message up in the queue so that those two questions follow one another. And that is something that we wanted so long. YouTube Church, super cute Saturday. Thank you for the hashtags, Tish. And right before I went live, YouTube told me that people will be able to see my chat in the replay. I have not seen that yet, but YouTube just gave me that message. So if you guys are watching this in the replay, hopefully you'll see the chat. If not, just know my friend Tish, also my hashtagologist, just threw me a couple of great hashtags. So you can reorder these segments. You could drag and drop. And this was one of the most requested features because we have this messaging system internal to the Anchor app. Don't forget to follow one another by clicking those 3 dots next to the name. That's right. So Bonnie, this is your first time coming to one of the live streams. Make sure you click on those little 3 dots next to somebody's name in the chat, and you'll see go to channel at the top. And I like for my community to all follow each other and connect with one another. And all those folks that just came in, please give the video a thumbs up. Positive Gaming, hey, hey, hey. So we're talking about Anchor, Positive Gaming, so I'm glad you're here. So now let's bring things up to, now that I've given you a little bit of background about why we're even talking about Anchor and podcasting. Because remember I said I had the free podcast host. And so I didn't just look at Anchor. Here's the other hosts that I looked at. And like I said, I'm looking at my sheet. I had to update the sheet because Anchor, I used to have a lot of no's in the Anchor column. Now I got some yeses. But I'll give you the hosts. And I'm just going to talk about 3. I'm going to talk about Anchor, Spreaker, and Podbean. And here's why. I'm going to start with Podbean really quickly, just to let you know why they're included in this. Because Podbean has a Patreon type feature in there. So somebody who wants to monetize their podcast, I say start with Patreon. Start with Podbean because they have a setup that's just like Patreon. So if you're looking to monetize and you have an audience already, start with Podbean. Or if you have some products that you want to sell. So yes, and Guy Cook uses Podbean. Our friend Guy R. Cook. Got to give Guy a shout out because he gives me a shout out on his show all the time. So Spreaker is the other one that I want to compare. And the reason why I'm comparing Spreaker is actually my favorite. Because Spreaker will let you host for free for a limited amount of episodes, because it all depends upon how long your episodes are and how much data, it takes up. But you can use Spreaker on the free for a long time. And both of those hosts, in addition to Anchor, they all have a mobile app that lets you record. Okay? So that's why I'm comparing those 3. So, do they let you have an RSS feed? Yes, they all do. So can you import your RSS feed from one host to the other? Let's say you've been using Spreaker for a while and you're like, I'm ready to go over to Podbean because Podbean now has that Patreon type feature. And I could get patrons over there on Podbean. Yes, then you want to be able to import your RSS feed. They do, but it's limited to the quantity. You also can import an RSS feed into Anchor. So now here's another one where Anchor has been updated from the last time I went through this sheet. And I'm going to leave a Google Doc link in the comments. In the description for this video. If anybody wants to see this comparison sheet, I'll leave it in the link in the description for this video. So the next one is the custom episode image. Yes, we finally can do that on Anchor. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you guys that, but we'll see. Let's get through the sheet first. And yes, you could do that on Spreaker and Podbean. Always could. Now, here's another one that they changed. The web page. It is, hey, Glorious, I want to ask if I could get a shout out from you. Been watching you for a long time now. Well, my patrons get shout outs. Okay? Whatever your name was. And I appreciate you for watching. And also make sure you come back and leave a comment, give the video a thumbs up, and share it out with your peeps. And you'll probably wind up getting a shout out. All right? Thank you, Bonnie. Okay. So now you do get a little bit more of a customizable web page. That's the other thing that I like about these changes that Anchor made. Of course, it still has Anchor's branding and all of that on there, but it's more focused on you. Anchor is there, because remember, Anchor, these are free hosts. All these hosts are free. You know, Spreaker, you can upgrade on Spreaker and you can upgrade on Podbean to paid versions. That's the difference between these three. Anchor is exclusively free, but you can upgrade on Podbean and you can upgrade on Spreaker. You'll get more storage space, and in the case of Podbean, all of your episodes will last longer. On Spreaker, your episodes will, you know, they stay there. But on Podbean, you have a limited time before you do that upgrade. Okay, so now, so they do have that customizable web page. So now the next thing is there's like widgets on the web page. You know how we have those widgets in the sidebar and people can subscribe to our email list and all that. Well, Anchor still doesn't have that, and Spreaker and Podbean do. Okay? Episode descriptions. Yes. Now, in this case, yeah, Tisha, yes, widgets. I'm confused. Can you answer a question? Okay, Gypsy Clipper. I know Gypsy Clipper. I know that you're an Anchor user. And so, sure, put up your question, my dear. And I know there's a little bit of a delay, so hopefully you can get that question up before I look away and look at my sheet. She needs to be asked one, so don't be mean. Oh. Yes, yes. I know who Gypsy Clipper is. That's a neat name, Gypsy Clipper. Yes, I know who she is. She's one of my Anchor buddies. So go ahead and put that question up there, honey. Why is everyone upset about the upgrade? Gypsy Clipper, you're talking to the wrong folks, because I'm not upset about the upgrade. I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, so I can't really answer for other people. You know, okay, you know I love it. So I'm not sure why you're asking me, why is everybody upset? That's why I'm asking. I can't, you know, sometimes people don't like change. And, you know, all right, and what are they losing? Okay, here's what they're losing. There is an answer to this. Anchor used to be a social audio app. It did not even have anything to do with podcasting. That's how Anchor started. Social audio. In other words, like Twitter, but with audio. And guess what? Facebook's going to start integrating that little feature as well. Okay? Then they changed and add podcasting. Now they're changing and saying they're all in on podcasting. You came into it for the free podcast. So if you came to it for the free podcast, you're a happy camper. Same reason why I came back to Anchor. Because I started off when it was just waves, what they call version 1. It was just waves. And I didn't like that. And so I left. Then they sent me an email and said, yes, you can start a podcast. And I was like, okay, now I'm back over there. We're not going to talk about that. I have plenty of videos about building YouTube channel. So you just have to go. You can, at any time, you can come and search through my video. If you go to my video landing page, you know, my YouTube homepage, you're going to see playlists. and one of the ones at the top of the page, especially if you're on desktop, I'm not sure what order it's in when you're on your phone, is my YouTube tutorials. So I have a slew of videos on building and growing your YouTube channel. Right now, we're talking about podcasting. But in a sense, this is me building my channel. Emmett Force 4. Hi there, Emmett. I don't miss any of their live shows, but I never get them while you're going on. Oh, well, Gypsy Clipper, this time you got me. You just have to be there at the right place at the right time to get that notification, because I didn't give any advance notice of this because I was having those technical difficulties. And you're thrilled. Oh, that is so sweet. And everyone that's here, can you please share this out with your peeps? Because we may be here for a little while. So if you share it now, and if they see it, they can come and join the Miss Ileane live show party. And if they're podcasters, they probably want to hear this. Okay, so now you posted on your Facebook timeline. Tish, I so appreciate you. Yeah, Twitter is good too to post this on as well. So the episode descriptions, I talked about that. Now the next thing is the destinations. Where will your podcast be distributed to from right inside of that host? So let's start with Podbean, because I just found out about Podbean. I need to add a host here for Podbean, because Podbean will send your videos to YouTube. And I don't know that that's always a great strategy to send your videos to YouTube, but hey. Spreaker does that as well. Hey, Sonitha starting a fashion podcast and taking notes. Great. My phone's almost dead, so I will be back later. Okay, Emmett, but thank you for coming. Give the video a thumbs up before you leave. Show me some love on your way out. Okay, so what happens when your podcast gets sent to YouTube as a video? There will be a still image there, and people can just listen to the audio. Now, that may be confusing for some, people. Okay, thanks, Tish just posted on Twitter. That's going to be confusing to some people they're on YouTube. They're expecting to see a video. However, if you train your audience, or if you tell your audience, this is a podcast, but you can also catch it on YouTube. Patricia S said yes. So, and then also, if you don't want to confuse people who come to your channel who don't know that it's supposed to be audio, just add that to the title. You can say, I'm talking about fashion. The young lady said that she has starting a fashion podcast. And you can say, the latest fashion trends for 2018. And then at the end, always at the end, put it in parentheses, audio only. I listen to audiobooks and radio programs exclusively on YouTube. It's easy. Yes, Gypsy, it is. Folks that are really savvy about doing that, is great. But other people are not. And there's a lot of people that don't even understand what a podcast is. Okay. So let's see. And so, you got to keep that in mind. If they don't even know what a podcast is and they run across your audio on YouTube, they're going to be like, what the heck is this? And they're going to leave. You don't want that to happen. You want them to see that title, see your thumbnail, and, give them some kind of intrigue. And you could even put it on the thumbnail in small font somewhere to say that it's audio only. But you definitely want to put that at the title. If you post your normal picture, I'm not sure what you mean about posting normal picture. They get it. Okay. So, oh, thank you. Larry's here. Hey, Larry. You have an image. I'm talking about your thumbnail. Yes. Yes, the thumbnail of the video, that's the image. And then, you know, a lot of times you just put a text overlay you associate with your podcast. Yes, and that, like I said, Gypsy, that's fine for your podcast listeners. But now I'm also expanding that and letting you know that you also want to make sure that even your regular podcast listeners who don't even know that you have a podcast, when they see your thumbnail, they'll know, okay, this is audio. And they won't be disappointed. So they have that choice. If they don't want to listen to audio, then they can just bypass your video, right? But I just think it's something that you have to test. Inspirational Tara with a $5 super chat. Inspiration alone, Tara. Inspiration alone. I think I said that right, because with the $5 super chat, and this is my first time seeing you. Thank you so very much, my love. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll make sure we get your questions. I know what it's saying. Inspiration alone. Little something just for taking the time out for us. Thank you for what encoder you use for streaming, and do you prevent delays? Do you, yeah, you can't have not alone. No, okay. So it's inspirational one. Inspirational one. Inspirational one, Tara. Yeah. Okay, I am on my phone right now, but the encoder that I use is EcammLive when I'm on my desktop. And right now I'm nowhere near my computer because like I said, I was having little technical difficulties. So the EcammLive, I'll give you that link though, because if you see any of my past videos, they were done with EcammLive, especially the recent ones. And so that's Ileane.link/EcammLive, and that's with 2 M's, Ecamm, C-A-M-M, live. Okay. Yes. All right. So, thanks for the super chat, and let's get back into we're doing our ratings of comparing the inspirational one. Tara, do you have a podcast? Inspirational one? If you have a podcast, or if you're thinking about podcasting, let us know so we can make sure we connect with you. I like that inspirational one. Sorry, I got it wrong, but yeah, okay, good. Yeah, let us know the name of your podcast, and if it's on Anchor, just go ahead and put your handle in there. You need to get a bit more independent of the computer. Phones are in. I'm on my phone. I'm on my phone, Gypsy Clipper. It's not that I'm not independent of the computer. I just like it. You know, because the phone is tiny. Everything is tiny on here. And then with YouTube, the way YouTube is right now, I can't let you guys in. And I have full intentions on having an event on YouTube today where I could let someone else in. But I can't do that on the phone. So YouTube needs to fix that, because even Instagram lets you have 2 people. So I don't know what's YouTube's problem. Yes, I do on Anchor. Oh, Tara One and Spreaker. Tara One Love Coach. Okay, we got it. And I will definitely follow up with you, because even if YouTube fails me on having that live chat replay, I have the Nightbot. That's a whole nother topic. And I'll talk about that later, or another episode. Okay, so let's go back to the destinations, because we started talking about the fact of having audio on YouTube and the problems and the challenges that people can face with that. It can be done. I hear some shows do really, really well, and then others not so much. So I would say, if you're someone who is in the midst of growing a YouTube channel, you do not want to put audio on that channel. You can always start a second channel. Like for me, I would not put my audio podcast. I got too many places to put a podcast. Why would I put it on YouTube? But what I could do is start a new channel, free podcast host, right? I could start a new YouTube channel for that and put the audio over there. And then, hey, every now and then maybe go on cam just so folks can see who I am, and then let them know this is a podcast. this is giving you an easier way to listen to it. Because, if you're a person who likes YouTube, YouTube is an easy way to listen to content. I do it all the time. Okay, so the other destinations, of course, you want your Apple Podcasts. And of course, Anchor has that. Spreaker has that. Podbean. Now, Podbean, the only other destination that I know of with Podbean is YouTube, and that's it. So we're not going to talk about Podbean anymore in the sense of distribution. Now, let's just talk about Anchor and Spreaker. Anchor also has Google Play Music, so does Spreaker, Overcast, and Pocket Cast. TubeBuddy. Oh, sorry, Larry. Can you put that up again? Sorry. They have a great connection with Google Play, Overcast, and Pocket Cast. And now they're supposed to be working on the Spotify. I don't know, because I think it's only going to be certain shows that are going to get into Spotify, the big shows that Anchor pushes all the time anyway. So that's okay. But with Spreaker, you can scroll back in the live chat, I think. Oh, yeah. You know what? I never tried to do that before. TubeBuddy does a good job with their podcast on YouTube. Good amount of listens, i.e. views. Yeah, okay, Larry. You compare an average average TubeBuddy video to their TubeBuddy audio podcast. Now, they continue to do that. And in fact, Dusty asked me if I wanted to come on to the podcast, and he wants to interview me. So I need to connect with him. So they continue to do it, so they must be fine with the results. But for me, I see that they get less than a third of what they normally would get on a video from the podcast. I'm not sure why they're not putting on a separate channel. Maybe they're just still testing it out. Maybe they're just still trying to train the audience. Maybe they just don't care. They got 100,000 subscribers. It's like, oh, whatever. They're about helping us. They're not so much about, why would you recommend 2 channels on the normal person can barely maintain 1? I'm not recommending that. I'm saying don't put audio on your YouTube channel. But if you want to, get a second channel. That's what I'm recommending. I'm not recommending that you get a second channel. Hey, Beauty Bubble. I think you don't need a second channel, and I don't think you should put your audio only on YouTube, your podcast. But that doesn't mean you can't try it. Don't let me stop you. You go ahead and see how it works. And like I said, TubeBuddy is doing it, and Larry mentioned TubeBuddy, and I'm glad he said that, because I know you're not arguing, Gypsy. You're just, you're curious. Yeah. I get it. I think you might be missing some of what I'm saying, because I did say that from the very beginning. But that's okay. I don't mind repeating. That's what I'm here for. All right. So let me go back to the other places that Spreaker distributes your podcast is Tumblr, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. And I don't know how much longer iHeartRadio is going to be around, but I guess they'll come out of bankruptcy. I'm not 100% sure. And I do believe that Spotify is going to be on the list for both of these hosts. I'm not 100% sure about that, because, like I said, I think only right now the chosen accounts are getting in there. Not everybody. Nobody invited me over to Spotify yet. Let's put it that way. All right, next. All right. Oh, a mobile listening app. Now, this was, to me, is an important piece, because if I'm going to use a host, I think that host should provide an app so that it gives me extra chances for getting discovered. So Spreaker has that. So does Podbean. And we all know that Anchor has that, right? Okay, so the next would be an Amazon Echo skill. And I already have my girl over there turned off. Lexi is on silent, so I could say Alexa. I think SoundCloud is good to distribute from Spreaker. It has good traffic. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people love SoundCloud, and I'm glad that you're using SoundCloud through Spreaker and not the other way around. Because the problem that I think most podcasters, most professional podcasters, caution against using SoundCloud as your primary host, but to use them as a secondary host, as a backup host, or as a backup distribution point to make sure that you're getting the additional traffic, SoundCloud is the bomb for that because there's a lot of users over there. And an interesting conversation came up on She Podcast. They talk a lot about diversity. It's the She Podcast. That's Elsie Escobar and Jessica Kufferman. And they were saying that they felt that, this is just anecdotal, not any statistics, but that they felt that a lot of African Americans like to use SoundCloud for some reason. And I don't know if it's because they're drawn to SoundCloud for their because of the music, but then they also use it as their podcast host. So, and I honestly, I have to say that's true from our Philadelphia podcast meetup group. Just about all of the African Americans, or black, I call them black, all the black podcasters are on SoundCloud. I really never thought about it until they said it. I mean, I guess I kind of thought about it, but I had it in the back of my mind because I've been trying to encourage them, don't use SoundCloud as your main host. But then it's like, they're not listening to me, and that's okay. They still podcasting. And then maybe some of them did listen to me and they switched up. Hey, Kim Collins, what's up, girl? Wow, we got the whole gang here. Let's get a thumbs up for this video and share it out with your peeps. Okay, maybe we can get some more super chats going too. The inspirational one, Tara, gave up a super chat earlier. Okay, so now let's talk about the Amazon Echo skills, okay? Ileane Posses, yes. So Spreaker has a skill. You just have to tell Lexi to enable the Spreaker skill, and then you say, play the podcast. Now, those of you who follow me diligently know that Alexa can't say my name. So if you tell her to find Miss Ileane Speaks Podcast, she's not going to find it because she wants my name to be Ecamm or Ileane or Ileane. I'm sorry, Ileane. Yeah. So that's another reason why I started Free Podcast Host and the Anchor Show, because I wanted to see what Lexi would do with that. She finds Free Podcast Host, and sometimes she finds the Anchor Show. Sometimes she there's another podcast that has that Anchor name in there, and she'll find that, and then she'll say, "Do you want to listen to that one?" And I'll say no, and she'll say, "What do you want to listen to?" No. You want to listen? No. Yes, that's the one. Yes, play that. But honestly, I think as far as Anchor, as far as the Spreaker and Podbean has the Alexa skill as well. Anchor doesn't have it yet. I think they're going to have it. But they do say that they will, that your podcast is available on Apple CarPlay for folks who have those kinds of cars. Okay, so now I want to go back because a couple of folks just came in, and but Beauty, I know Beauty's already aware of this. I was talking about having that custom episode image, which was something that Anchor was sorely lacking, but they have that now, and that is amazing to me. That, the only thing is now that's a lot of work for me because I got to go back to all my old episodes. If you guys don't remember, or if you do remember, in November, I participated in NADPOD Pomo, which was post every day in November. So that means I got to come up with an image for each one of those episodes. Trust me, that's way down on the to-do list. That's the back catalog. But going forward, I do try to make sure I have an image for every episode, because I think that we need Anchor Buddy. Yes, but it's still work, man. You still got to go in there. And anyway, because I'm up to like 60 some episodes on the Anchor show. And that's another thing I do like about, excuse me, having the desktop access, is that I get to see my episode count. Because I never really number my episodes. And I should. And, from listening to other podcasters, because in my head, I don't really think about the episode numbers. But then I listen to other podcasters, and some of what they say makes a lot of sense. That when you can refer to a previous episode and just say, yeah, we talked about that in episode number 18. But if you don't have your episode numbers there, nobody knows what episode 18 is, right? So it is a quick way to get folks to, but my numbers are all over the place right now. Sorry about that. I apologize if anybody is trying to find my podcast based on numbers. Sorry. Holla at me and I will. You're not alone. Thank you, inspirational one, Tara. And you know what? People have been listening to my little call to action, so I'm going to give it right now. There's 2 new ways for you to contact me. My podcast numbers are all over the place. Yes. Well, because I've started my podcast in different times, and then I took a hiatus and came back, and then I started numbering, and it was like, well, you didn't number the first 40 episodes. And so anyway, two ways to contact me, and people have been jumping on this, so I know you guys are listening to me. If you want to send me an email, ILEANESBuddy.com/contact. That's ILEANE Smith.com/contact. I saw that Libsyn, because we're not talking about Libsyn, because Libsyn is really not a free podcast host. You can start with Libsyn for free, though, for the first 2 months or a month and a half, depending upon what day of the month you sign up. So they give you the rest of the month that you're in and the next month for free. And you use my friend Dave Jackson's code, SOP free, in order to get that. So Libsyn, they give you your own little, sort of like a website. Your name song is what I sing every time I spell your name. Man, Ileane is in my head. Oh, that's so cute, Kim. ILEANE. Oh, before I tell that little story, let me go back to the second way to contact me. You can leave me a thank you so much, the Queen of Redirection. The other way you can contact me is if you want to leave me a voicemail. You go to ILEANESmith.com/voicemail. Voicemail. And someone left me a voicemail the other day, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. But they did leave me a voicemail. But I got 2 emails. And this is good because prior I was only giving people my voicemail. Okay. And I wasn't giving out the email, but because Libsyn gives you this little mini website, there's a contact form on that website, because if you got a WordPress blog and you put a contact form on it, you won't get spammed out the wazoo. Let's face it. I mean, you got to put a plug-in in there to make sure you don't get bots and Whew, that's ridiculous. So when I realized I have a contact form on Libsyn, and hint, hint, Larry, just in case you wanted to do it this way too, then you could get rid of your contact plugin on your blog. Then I thought, well, people can use that as the way to email me. So that's why I changed the voicemail over to Tish, except when your daughter says, Mama, what are you singing? Well, you tell your daughter that she should practice her handwriting. ILEANE. Oh, my goodness. You guys are too funny. I love y'all. All right. So the next thing I want to tell you guys about in this comparison of just a quick recap. My son is 30 plus. Cute, Kimberly. Okay. The 3 hosts that we're comparing today are Podbean, Spreaker, and Anchor, right? So we've already kind of narrowed things down to like Spreaker and Anchor, unless you want to do a patron thing, because Podbean has the patron thing, and also you can sell premium content on Podbean. So even with the free podcast host. So like right now, if I wanted to sell this little sheet, or if I wanted to get your email address based on, I say to you, go over to I don't have it set up, but let's just say it was freepodcasthost.podbean.com/whatever and download this. But I'm not going to make y'all do that. I'm just letting you know you can do that with Podbean. And then I'm actually going to give you the link to this in the description of this video as soon as I make these edits. So Podbean does have that. They got that over Spreaker and Anchor. Okay. So now there's always a workaround, as Larry said earlier, the queen of the redirection. Spreaker and Podbean are freemium and Anchor is free. Fair comparison. Larry, you can use Spreaker for free forever. It's just not unlimited hosting. It's just not unlimited hosting. Okay? So I had my account on Spreaker and I didn't start paying for it until last year. And I had that account since 2012. Free. I didn't have a whole bunch of episodes on there. So you just have to know what that storage limit is. And Podbean, what they do is you kind of like have to recycle, because after 90 days they take it down, but they keep your content up. Your show is still there and all that. Your links are still there. You just have to re-upload stuff or upload new stuff. Your old stuff drops off. So, yeah. And I mean, when we say fair comparison, the real question is Anchor going to be around? See, I know Spreaker is going to be around, or I feel very confident. Let's put it that way. I feel very confident that Podbean is going to be around. I got 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door with Anchor, because I'm getting nervous. The more people that come over there and they keep bragging about that free hosting, y'all know who that sounds like? Remember how we used to hear that story? We're never going to monetize. We're not going to monetize. We don't need your money. No, I'm not trying to read the tea leaves. You asked a question, so I just want to answer you, Larry. You asked me, was it a fair comparison? And all I'm saying is, when you want to really talk about a fair comparison, yes, the B word. Kim know what I'm talking about. Well, all y'all know what I'm talking about, except maybe the inspirational Tara. The inspirational one, Tara, but I'll tell you later, Tara. So, we want to keep in mind that, there's never always going to be apples to apples, because if they were all the same, it would be, you can just call me Tara. Okay, Tara. If we didn't, if they were all the same, then why would we use one over the other? I mean, But you do apples to blabbles. No, you just had to make me say that word blab. So anywho, ladies and gentlemen, let me see. There was another one that I want to make sure that I go back over. Oh, the stats. I didn't get to the stats. Stats. Now, you get some great stats with Spreaker. Spreaker stats are the bomb. And I know that one of the friends that I have, oh, hello, how you doing? Greetings. Can't live, Abonnees, woo. Oh, fancy. One of my friends that I met on Anchor, he is currently living in Ireland, and that's Bernie Goldbach. He's top gold on Twitter, and he's an educator. He works with over at the Clymel University, Limerick University or something like that. But he teaches new media to his students. He's a university professor. Anyway, he's in Ireland, and he uses Spreaker as well. So he's very familiar with the Spreaker platform. So we were talking back and forth a lot about Alexa, right? And so I asked him to test it because back when I was trying to get Lexi to say my name and she didn't understand it. And then I switched over to the free podcast host. And so I asked him to go on to Alexa, ask for a free podcast host, and all that. And the very next day, I saw right in my Spreaker dashboard, Alexa, what is it called? It's called Spreaker Alexa Skill. And I saw those listens coming right from Ireland. So that was the very next day. That is a French abonnez-vous means subscribe. Oh, okay. You subscribe to my channel? Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Oh, no, I didn't tell you about the stats on Anchor. They don't have it. They tried. They made it pretty. They just put up a little graph, but it's not real stats. I think it's going to get better, though. I have every reason to believe that it was just an initial push, and they just wanted to launch that desktop thing. And you guys know South by Southwest is coming soon. And we've some of us have kind of had that feeling. In fact, it was my friend Barbara KB over on Anchor who said that they did this with Anchor version 2, that they made a big hubbub about it and on stage at South by Southwest. So they wanted to get version 3 out, and it is pretty functional. It's like 80% functional. Oh, you also have your own channel, and it's a news channel called Can't Live. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Sorry, Ileane, to be off the subject. I went to EcammLive, and it says for Facebook, you are streaming from Facebook on YouTube. No, EcammLive has extra features in there where you can use the RTMP encoding features, and you can go not only to YouTube but also to Periscope. And it's specifically was built for Facebook, but they have integrated all these other streaming and Twitch. So you can do Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. But not at the same time. Not with Ecamm. You know, there's other ways around that. Okay, I was struggling with the live streaming for YouTube. Yes. If you're on a Mac, honey, yep. I had such a delay. Oh, okay. If you're on a Mac, like I said, go back and watch, and then you're good to go. Go ahead and get it, because it's a one-time purchase. You can't beat that. Hey, Andrew. No. Yes, not Periscope. Periscope. Okay, thanks. So thank you. I appreciate you for using my link, Tara. Because, you know, once you pay that one time, and we got to connect on Facebook too, because there's a special Facebook group that you can get advanced beta testing. Oh my God, you made it, Andrew. Yes, 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 yes. So connect with me and just look for Ileane on Facebook. ILEANE. Kim knows that song. Sing it, Kim. The link is in the description. It will be. It's in the description of any of my other videos, but I don't know that I set that as a default for this video because I didn't get a chance to edit the description yet, but I will as soon as I get off of here. But the link, and Larry can put the link in there for me. It's Ileane.link/EcammLive. Ileane.link/Ecamm, that's with 2 M's, live. So back to the stats. You can't monetize. Yeah, you can monetize with Periscope if you've got a big audience. If you have a huge audience on Periscope, you can monetize because they have something called Super Hearts. Don't ask me about it because I have a small but loyal audience on Periscope. Ain't that right, Tish? Tish comes to my Periscopes. Okay. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so back to the stats, right? Tish said, dang right. Back to the stats. So Anchor stats leave something to be desired. And, you know, when you're showing off these things and they can include them in their PowerPoint presentations at South by Southwest, and nobody's going to know that they're all wonky because, you know, only Anchor users will look at the stats and like, huh? That doesn't make sense. All right, I'll give you an example. Most of my listens are coming from Anchor. That makes a whole heap of sense because I don't really promote that podcast outside of Anchor. It's all about Anchor anyway. All right. So, oh, Gore, long time no see. Hello, hello. So, of course, on your country it's nighttime. Well, it's actually getting nighttime here too. So let's say I have 1,900 listens in Anchor. Then I had like 2,500 listens in other. What's other? What is other? Why do I have more listens in other? You know, and then people say, well, probably because you share it out on Twitter. No, I don't. Probably because you embed it on your website. No, I don't. I don't promote that podcast outside of Anchor. And here's the other coincidence. Remember I told you earlier that Anchor goes out to Apple Podcasts, it goes out to Overcast, and it goes out to Pocket Casts. Are others sharing it for you? I doubt it. And if they are, I'd love to know who they are. If they get me more listens outside of Anchor than they are inside of Anchor. And then even if somebody else was sharing it for me, and they're sharing it on Twitter or whatever, then it should say the web. Even if it doesn't know that it's Twitter or if it doesn't know that it's Facebook. Don't say other. Just say the web. Or on the website. Or, you know what I mean? Like other. Huh? Is that Mars? What? Okay, so back to the other stats that I have. Apple Podcasts, Overcast, and Pocket Cast. 6 views each. Coincidentally, they all had 6 views. And they've been stuck, all of them been stuck on the same 6 views ever since. I mean, 6 listens. I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm on YouTube, so I say views. But all of them been stuck at 6 since they introduced the stats. And now, you know what? I don't even know if the other numbers stayed the same too. They might have. I have to go back to the video where I first showed you guys. But I've got 2,500 on the other, 1,900 in Anchor, and 6, 6, and 6. I've been around long enough to know when stats are wonky. And no stats are wonky. But it's an attempt, and I'm sure they've got to fix that. I mean, would it be shares or whatever it's called within the app? The app is separate, Larry. That's what I'm there. Trust me, there is no rhyme or reason to explain these stats. They're just wrong. It's just physically impossible for me to have all those stats, okay? To say other. Instagram. Hey, guess what my handle is on Instagram? Remixed by Jorge. It's Ileane. Ileane. Sing it, Kim. Ileane. Kim, if Kim is still here, her and her daughter are singing that song tonight. Yes, I am on Instagram, and I did a story. I did a nice little story today. If anybody happened to see it, I did a story talking about how I went live on Facebook the wee hours of the morning, but I went live audio on Facebook, and I'm repurposing that over on Twitch, on my free podcast host on Twitch. And you know what? Maybe we deserve... Oh, thank you, Larry. I love that. I will definitely screenshot that later. What about the new algorithm on Instagram? I don't care about algorithms. If you focus on algorithms when you're on social media, you'll be banging your head against the wall. You will. I mean, because if there's a way to rank on an Instagram algorithm, tell me what it is. I don't know. I know when I go on Instagram, I know who I normally see at the top, my daughter, or one of her friends, or whoever I engaged with the most the last couple of times. But to be honest, most of my Instagram consumption is stories. So once again, the first one I'll see will be my daughter. So if I don't see my daughter there, I know she didn't do a story. Because sometimes I'm like, that's how I have to find out what's going on with her. I have to follow her Instagram stories. So, there is an algorithm. It definitely is. And I don't think we should fight it. Explain that thing about the podcast on Twitch. Oh, okay. So if you check out my story from this morning, you'll see I did a live audio on Facebook. And then when you do a live audio on Facebook, when you download that file, it's still a movie file. Okay? So I took that, and now that Twitch is focused on premieres, okay, meaning that you can upload a video and replay it as a premiere. Now, I kept that video short. The video is only about 12 minutes. I'm saying video, but y'all know I mean audio, but the file is a video file. And then I uploaded it to Twitch. Now, I didn't get a chance to really promote it or anything like that today, which, I will. But like I said, I was having little technical difficulties. And so I didn't get a chance to promote it. So I got 1 view so far. And that probably was me. Because I got 2 Twitch accounts. And so if you want to check me out on Twitch, you'll look for Ileane Smith. So it's twitch.tv/Ileane Smith. But this particular audio that I put up there today is on the free podcast host account. Twitch.tv/free podcast host. And so what I did was the same thing I was telling you guys earlier. If you're going to put audio on YouTube, I put that title there, and at the end of that title, I put it in parentheses. I can't believe I wasn't even thinking of that, using that Twitch as an example. And I put, because I was talking about the Twitch premieres and the Nightbot. And I used that as a title, but at the end, in parentheses, I put audio only, or audio version, something like that. so people would know it's an audio. But I have a thumbnail there, which I need to update because I need to put the little Nightbot on the thumbnail because I started talking about the Nightbot, but that wasn't the plan originally. Okay, so, all right, so real quick, I'm going to do a real quick recap. And really what I want to recap is just the things that have updated on the sheet since Anchor Release 3.0. And the four things. A custom episode image, that's new. Customizable web page, well, it's somewhat customizable, still has Anchor branding, but all the free podcast hosts have their branding on your website. But that makes sense. I mean, I pay for Libsyn. Libsyn's got their branding. Destinations, I see them playing with Spotify and then Stitcher. I heard them talking about Stitcher. I didn't get the rollout on Stitcher yet, but I think that one's coming. That's kind of a no-brainer anyway, Stitcher. And, oh, I missed one earlier. The recording tools / apps. And previously, prior to Anchor 3.0, for Anchor, I had yes for recording tools and apps. They have the desktop uploader. Well, that's all changed because now it's really a desktop publishing. It's desktop publishing, as Beauty can attest to, because you can do everything from the desktop. The only thing that you can't do that you could do before was add in the background music. And I gotta be honest with y'all, I wasn't even using that background music toward the end. In the beginning, I thought it was fun, and I was using it a lot. And I like background music, but voice-only options are certainly growing in popularity. Even Instagram might be rolling out voice chat. Well, Facebook is supposed to be doing it. So, yeah. Voice. Video and voice. Video and voice. I have a little acronym, DOVE. DOVE. And I had to change the V. The V originally was for video. But now it's video and voice. Because, you know, we got Lexi, we got HomePod, we got Google Home. I mean, you know, people don't even want to have to pick up their phone. And you know what? In a way, they kind of made it annoying. You got to log into the phone. Well, at least on iPhone, you do. Even if you just do facial recognition, you got to be looking at it and all that. People just want to be laying across the bed, chilling, and be like, Lexi, bring me some chocolate cake. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Not with Lexi. It may happen with someone else. Oh, there's an app called Vaudle. I told you guys a little bit about Vaudle, and it's an iOS-only app. And Beauty, you'll love Vaudle because it's definitely social audio. But someone on there has a podcast, and you can import your RSS feed if you have a podcast. And one of the episodes was about something they're calling a soft robot. Don't need to log in to ask Siri, although Siri is the worst of the bunch, in my opinion. I turned off Siri on my phone a long time ago. So when people start telling me things that I could do with Siri, Lexi responds, I'm sorry, that is beyond your dietary allowance. Thanks. Thanks, Andrew. Too many pieces of chocolate cake. So let me tell you about this soft robot real quick. And I don't remember all the information. I just remember that the University of Delft, European, and it was a college thing, and then they turned it into a product. Now, if it was salmon, all in, yes. So this thing helps people who have sleep problems and helps put you to sleep. And it's a soft robot, so meaning that it interacts with you somehow, but it's not like one of those like Roombas that run across, and I don't know what it looks like because it was a podcast. So, so yeah, interesting. Soft robots. Learn something new. That's something that my job will probably have standards on, but I just didn't know about it yet. So, so guys, yeah. The desktop version of Anchor is the bomb. Elaborate around Bitcoin. Oh, Lord. Sword, I have not said not one word about that topic. So I'm not sure why, huh? All right, guys. You all remember there's 2 new ways to get in contact with me. If you had to recommend one podcast host, which would it be? If I had to recommend one, it would be Libsyn. I've been saying that, Larry, but people don't want to pay Libsyn. They want free. There are a lot of people suffering from imposter syndrome. They think that their content is not good enough. Now, in all fairness, some of those people are right. Their content is not good enough. Nobody's going to listen to it. Okay. But some people have very, very good content, but they think, I'm not going to pay for a host. If it ain't free, then it ain't me. Oh, and Andrew, you could start your podcast on Anchor because now it's completely desktop. You do not have to use your phone at all. Well, it can be done completely from desktop. Now, I do have one friend who doesn't have a computer at all. And she has an iPhone and an iPad. And she's a little upset because some of the features may have to check it out. Yeah, Andrew, I've been using you as an example in my last 3 Anchor videos because you're the person I always think of when I'm like, some people just don't like using their phone. But then Beauty's the same way. Beauty she's got a phone, but she doesn't use it for stuff. So she jumped on it. And matter of fact, you guys definitely check out Beauty Bubbles Anchor Station. Her and Quiet the Chef are cooking up some good stuff over there. We've all about that dough. Could somebody please moderate that chat, please? I got a couple of moderators there. Can somebody please take care of that? Anyway, all about that dough, and then also, what was the other one? Oh, a couple things I don't eat because I don't eat pork. But then there was one about ham and green beans. And then there was, what was that other one? Oh, the applesauce stuff. Oh, potato pancakes. Oh, please. Quiet Chef. He quietly just put 5 more pounds. Well, it wasn't quite 5, but y'all know what I mean. Lexi gonna have to help me work those off. But great recipes and good food. And they do such a great job with it. And you don't need the music, even though I do like having music sometimes behind my voice. But it's just not necessary. Now, I found some really good music. You guys know that YouTube has a free music library. They just added a bunch of stuff. And I found some really good tunes. And added them to my podcast, but I just did it for demonstration purposes, just to let people know what I just told y'all. YouTube added some really cool music to that library, and just be sure you check the attribution, because sometimes you have to, give the artist recognition, but there's some that you don't have to say anything. It's totally royalty free, and so I think that's the best to use for a podcast. Not unless you really just want to give a person a shout out. But, the only thing, and that was what I was going to say about the Anchor music, because Anchor had about 20 different background tracks, and you can still use them in the app. But people have been complaining that since the 3.0, that the music is louder, which means they have to talk louder, and it's harder for them to regulate the volume between the voice and the music. But my thing is kind of like it almost always lets people know that you are Anchor. Because if anybody who's on Anchor has heard all of those, so no matter where they hear your podcast, they always know that, yeah, you got that from Anchor. Or this person was on Anchor. I don't know that it's that big of a deal, but sometimes you just get tired of hearing the same thing. Hey, Barb, we're getting ready to close down now, but thank you for coming. Oh, and by the way, Barb and Tish, and I'm not sure who else is here, was at the Mari Smith face. I did not get a chance to stay and watch that because the same time that she was on. Oh, okay. Listen from your phone on the way home. Great. The same time that Mari Smith was on, Todd Cochran and Rob Greenlee from the New Media Show were celebrating their 200th episode, and they had Rob Walsh from Lipson there. So you had Blueberry, Spreaker, and Lipson all on the same show. So being the devout podcaster that I am, I had to forego Facebook to listen to that podcasting. God, you probably heard of them because I talk about them all the time. I always talk about Todd in that New Media Show. It's one of my favorite podcasts, but you got to be super geeky. You got to be super into podcasting. Have a good one, Tara. And yeah, sure, dear. I'm definitely going to follow up with you over on Anchor. So stay tuned for a message. I appreciate the super chat, my dear. Thank you. And so they got into a little bit of a conversation about your channel. Okay, your YouTube channel. Yeah. About, well, they talked about a lot of stuff, guys. And, it's hard for me to boil it down into a Reader's Digest version only because I didn't write anything down. But I will say they mentioned this thing called RAD, which is something that they're trying to, another way that they're trying to make sure that all of the podcasting hosts and all the apps are reporting back the same type of stats. They're trying to narrow it down even more to know, like, just because somebody downloaded your file doesn't mean that you actually listened to the file. So in a sense, Anchor is ahead of everybody in that sense because Anchor records listens in the app, not on those other hosts. And that's why I knew their stats were going to be wonky because Anchor knows when somebody listened to whereas all the other podcasting hosts just go by downloads. So everybody's podcast that you subscribe to, let's just say you use the Apple Podcast app. Or if you use Overcast, I'll use those too. You subscribe to podcasts. Let's say you subscribe to 10 podcasts, but you only really listen to 2. But all those other 8 podcasts, they count you as a download because you downloaded their show, whether you listen to it or not. That's not included in there. And so they're trying to combat that issue. They want to know that somebody listened, which is very interesting. So, yeah, super duper geeky stats stuff. And I'll take that over to Facebook conversation any day. But I'll go back and listen to Mari Smith because I think she's brilliant too. And she has key insights that nobody else has. So I think it's, speaking of, if I may, when will Nicole do her next podcast? In fact, Nicole recorded a podcast episode today that's going to air on Monday. She only missed it 1 week. She recorded it today. In fact, I was going to go down, but the weather was kind of iffy, and then it's super windy here, and I was like, I don't like driving in the dark. Y'all know that. And so I would have been coming home in the dark. And she wasn't expecting me, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, she recorded it today. And so it'll be there Monday. Yep. She's been very diligent on I'm releasing her podcast every Monday, but because she was in the Bahamas last week, excuse me, the week before she was in the Bahamas, so she didn't get a chance to when she got back to town, to record that podcast. So, oh wow. She got I dropped the Mari link for replay value. No big deal. Oh, okay. Thanks, Barb. Yeah, I mean, I have the link. I signed up for the whole Eventbrite thing and did all of that stuff. But then it was like, when I went on to YouTube, I just so happened to go into YouTube in another tab because I was going to, podcasting from a nice beach is a fun thing. Excuse me. That's the power of something like Anchor, because you can record from your phone, and actually Spreaker, because you can even be live on the beach and record your podcast, with Spreaker. Now, Podbean has a recording inside their app too, but it's more like Anchor, right? But Spreaker, you can literally be live on your podcast recording from your phone or from your computer. See, Spreaker, Larry asked me earlier which one would I pick, and I said Libsyn, because Libsyn really has the most features out of all of them. But Spreaker does have something that Libsyn doesn't have, and that is they have a listening app. They have the app that you can record. See, Libsyn doesn't provide you any tools to record your podcast. You got to do all that with your own recording tools. Okay? So that's a big difference. Spreaker not only gives you an app, they give you a desktop app, standalone application that you can download on your Windows or your Mac machine. And it's a studio where you can mix in music. You can have music in the background. You can play sound effects. It's a complete studio. And you can go live if you want, or you can pre-record. Doesn't matter. You can bring in your bumper. You can bring in your intro, your outro. You never have to have any other software with Spreaker. Libsyn doesn't give you that. And you can do it from your browser. So if you just don't want to download it onto your computer, you already got too many things on your computer, all you got to do is open up the Spreaker website and you can record from your computer with all that stuff I just told you about the studio. I did an old Spreaker studio video way back in 2012. Of course, they updated the studio since then. The look of it and the layout and all that is updated. But, the video is really still a good video because all those things are still there. They just, changed the look of it a little bit. What level of service do you buy in on Spreaker? The second level, not the cheapest one. Or maybe it is the cheapest one. I can't remember. But like I said, Barb, I said earlier before you got here, or maybe it was when you were listening on the phone, I was free on Spreaker for years. Okay? In fact, I upgraded $19.99, but I pay annually. So I don't think it's $19.99. I think I pay $100, and that may be the one. And I have 3 podcasts on Spreaker. I have Miss Ileane Speaks, I have the Anchor Show, and I have Free Podcast Hosts, all on Spreaker. Now, they're not in iTunes. The one that's in iTunes, because Anchor already has the Anchor Show in iTunes, so it doesn't make sense. But I put it over there on Spreaker because now I have control of it. And I have easy access to download all those files. And Spreaker has a gorgeous player. So if I did want to embed it on a blog, or if I did want to promote any of my episodes, because I don't always just talk about Anchor. I talk about podcasting too. And I talk about promoting. And of course, I always throw in a little YouTube whenever I get a chance, right? So if there's an episode that I want to do a blog post around, I can put it on ILEANESBUDDY.com. I can use the Spreaker player. I can delete the Anchor commercial from my file, because Anchor puts a post-roll commercial at the end of your file. So I just imported that RSS feed right over into Spreaker. So, I love that. I love that I could do that. And whenever I get ready or whenever I feel like it, I can just go live from my phone or wherever on Spreaker, and I could just pick whichever account. Because last week, I don't know if I shared that with you guys, but last week I went live, but I went live in the wrong account because I got 3, right? So I went live in Miss Ileane Speaks, but it was really for free podcast hosts, but that was okay. As soon as I realized it, when I finished the broadcast, I just made it private, because that's the other thing that Spreaker has. And oh my God, I need to leave. I didn't talk about that. Probably because that didn't change on my checklist. Gotta run. Bye, sweetie. Spreaker doesn't distribute to iTunes. Yes, they do, but I don't distribute it to iTunes from Spreaker because it's already on iTunes. In other words, Anchor has already put that podcast on iTunes. It wouldn't make sense for me to have that same podcast on iTunes from Spreaker. That wouldn't make sense. Right? And Libsyn already has Miss Ileane Speaks. Now, remember, I also have free podcast hosts. Eventually, I will put that in iTunes, and I will be using Spreaker for it. Hey, Seven, how you doing, my dear? Yeah, I talked a lot about Anchor, so you definitely got to watch the replay if you got questions about Anchor. Yeah. But yeah, premium or private content. That is one of the things on the checklist. And no, Anchor does not have premium or private content. Spreaker does. Podbean does. So, Anchor allows you to have content that's only on Anchor. You don't have to push it out to iTunes if you don't want to. And that's a little confused. Like, only people that are really in Anchor even understand what that's all about. Because, of course, if you're not in Anchor, you won't know that there's content that's only in Anchor, right? So, it's not private, though. It's in Anchor. And it's on the web. So, that was one of the things that one of the folks was complaining about. Because they thought that once they clicked Anchor only, that only Anchor people could listen to it. And then they went over to the website, because we all have our own webpage, and they saw the episode was on the web, and they were upset. And it was like, well, no, we always could listen to Anchor stuff from the web. They're not going to just designate that it only can be listened to in the app. Well, they could if they wanted to, because like I told you, Spreaker has it, and so does Podbean. You can give that URL to certain people and say, only the people that have the URL to this episode can listen to it. And you can charge for that if you want, or you can put it behind an email address and say, you got to give me your email if you want to listen to this special bonus content. Okay, so, there's a lot of things you can do with podcasting. Podcasting is, as much as I love video and YouTube, like I'm doing right now, I love podcasting too. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think everybody who's here has given the video a thumbs up. Don't forget the 2 ways to contact me, ILEANESmith.com/contact, ILEANESmith.com/voicemail. And with that, Thank you, Tish. And with that, I want you to have a wonderful day, and I will try to do a live stream in between now and next weekend, but for sure next weekend. But I'll try to do something in between. It just depends upon my schedule and if I get my technical difficulties straightened out. And I'll hear you on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Twitch. Just hang out with me because I love it when y'all do that. And like I said, I'm going to try my best the next time be on a Google Plus event, YouTube event, so that somebody can come on, because I like it when I have those panel discussions, and I just couldn't do it today because of the tech didn't cooperate with me. So have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to fill out the links in the description. Oh, you know what? Before y'all go anywhere, I'm going to make sure that I open up that chat. Love you too, beauty. Don't go anywhere yet, guys. Well, you can if you want. I'm going to open up this chat room because sometimes by the time I get to my computer, it's gone. And I know that YouTube has promised that the chat was going to be there, but they lie. We talked about that the other night, right, Larry? Larry and Tish. They have been lying about that live chat being available after the video. They have been telling fibs. And I'm not sure if there's just something wrong, why it's not working for them. I don't get it. Because I was looking at Nick Nimmons. Now, I'm on the computer looking at my live, and I'm like, where is it? Oh, I found it. And I was looking at Nick Nimmons' thing, right? And he has over 100 people in his chat. And when that video was over, there was no live chat there on the side bar. So I don't understand why YouTube is it gave me a message. In fact, I'll post that over on Facebook, guys. Because I took a screenshot. It told me your live chat can be available after, for the replay. And I was like, well, isn't that something? Maybe they fixed it. So we shall see. But either way, I'll show y'all the screenshot of what they shared with me, because I thought that was interesting that Nick Nimmons wasn't there. So I'm thinking, well what's the deal? They don't have it together yet. They're trying, though. YouTube is trying. I have to give them credit. They know that it's a problem, and they're trying to fix it. It's just hard for them to just squeak it out. And I understand, because I had technical difficulties today myself. So hang in there, YouTube. I feel your pain. All right, y'all. I'll at y'all later. Love y'all.